Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Timberborn. Great to have you back with us on this crazy build permadeath series that we're doing. We're trying to think about introducing a new rule into this where we are not allowed to turn birthing pods after a certain number of cycles. I was playing backwards and forwards if I should bring that rule into this episode. I'm probably not going to, but we are definitely going to activate it pretty soon. Otherwise, it's getting too easy. It's quite predictable of how many beavers you need and how much water we need to survive. And on this episode, there's a lot of management going backwards and forwards. If you're interested in seeing lots of the little things that happen with water management and creating new sluices and gates to manage the water around the colony, please go watch the long version of the video on the channel. And if you want to familiarize with the rules that we're trying to make on this hard mode of Timberborn, check out the description. One of the main rules is we're only allowed to use the source of water that we start with. And that's a perfect time to see that the drought has ended and the water is returning back to our colony. So on this episode, I'm trying to get resources. I'm trying to speed up the whole build process and what that looks like and manage some of the bits that I didn't pay attention to. So here we're looking at the food district and the sort of plants that are going to be made. And I want all of the bottom storage buildings to have the raw vegetables coming off the fields. Then the next level up from that one will have the processed food, like the corn rations and the eggplant rations, and somewhere to store the canola oil. That's all going to happen on here. And I realize in a moment that I don't have that storage, and you can see here that we're just putting a place for that oil to go. I also want to make the beavers happier, so we're adding some interest and we're adding some ways to make them happy. I mean, look, they're depressed. They've got like 5 happiness, which is just terrible. It's really miserable if they have to live in this permadeath world. They may as well try and allow them to go swimming, which you can see we put that in the bottom. We're just working out really here is where the food goes and what's going to be produced. So when they are ready to start and I miss it, that they can start producing it straight away. I also realized that this staircase is totally built wrong and do a little bit of work fixing it. There's a lot of checking my work on this episode, and that's because normally what will happen is I'll get so caught up in a big build that this will be ready to produce food and it's not working because I messed up the staircases and I need to fix it, which you can see me painfully doing here, of looking at that perfect step at the front and matching it at the back. But we get there in the end. I also realized quite quickly that none of these buildings have power to work. Now, that's a bit of a problem because our power station that runs behind this is nowhere near finished, and I don't want to create messy power runs that are going to affect the running of these buildings in the future when we've got to take power chains over and under, and I don't want things to lose power as I'm doing that. And we find a solution to come off the top of the reservoir. You can see here, this is just a mess. They've got a lot to build, and until they've built it, I'm not taking any power across to the food district to the right to power those buildings. But what we can do is do a little bit more demolition. We can fill the land out. We can put the paths in and just clean up this district for when they actually get around to building everything. And on the next episode after this one, I am going to make a lot of forests. We are going to fix this wood situation rather than ignore it. But until then, this is me basically just connecting the power off the reservoir in the least destructive possible way that I could. And we lose a little bit of farmland to do it, but this solution will bring it off the reservoir from the pumps and be able to give the factories power to, well, work immediately. Now, I say that, I know full well that I think I've only got 600 spare power after everything else is running at 100%. So these buildings are definitely going to start to put a major draw on our power grid, and I'm going to have to focus on more power. And that kind of talks to the end of this video. I go a little bit crazy. I realize that I need to do something build-wise on this playthrough that's a little bit crazy, and I decide, why not go back to the beginning and maximize the amount of water that we can take out of our starting crater and put it into our reservoir. I'm going to say some numbers here. They're all wrong, but it's going to be approximation. So right now we have 6 water pumps feeding into reservoir 1, and it takes it about 27 days before it has enough water in it to start the pumps working to fill reservoir 2. So that's going to take 27 days to do that. It will probably take another 27 days to get it up to a level before it can start feeding reservoir 3. And by then, after 5 days of good water, we could have another drought and all the beavers die. So if we can create a pumping system from this starting crater that takes water from day 1 and gives it to reservoir 2 and reservoir 3 immediately, that is a good start. And on the previous episode called The Tunnel, you can see that design. I've never tried a design like it before, of running water from the bottom plane of the map that will go into 2 and 3. I'm pretty sure it'll work, but who knows until it's built and it's actually working. And then I thought, well, okay, I can probably make that situation better, because the underground water tunnel is only going to be able to fill the reservoirs up to 8 tiles before the pumps can't put any more water into it. So if I created a ring of pumps that goes around the starting crater and did as many pumps as I possibly can, and I'm not going to take credit for my math on this, by the way. The way this design finished was a total fluke. I didn't plan it. It wasn't intentional that it looked. It looks as good as it does when it's done, and it fits perfectly. It was a total fluke. So I'm not going to say I was some sort of genius and kind of worked it out. But the point is, it quadruples the amount of water being pulled out of the starting pond that goes into the reservoirs. So I'm thinking it might take about 6 to 7 days before it gets up to start filling reservoir 2, which is a huge improvement. And that would be great, that we can fill the reservoirs after a drought. The last drought on this game that we went through cleared all of the water out. There was nothing left and everything dried up. So we are pushing it, really. And I think that was a 77-day drought. We can't go any more than that. And we're also starting on this playthrough, I think we end up with like over 200 beavers. So feeding those water through a lengthy drought is just not possible at the moment, which is why I think I might delay the idea of turning the birthing pods off for this drought, but maybe the next one after this one, we'll do it once the water container's in. Because I would have played totally different if I had that rule. If I knew by cycle 12 I can't turn the birthing pods off, I would have really focused on water storage, and I haven't. And I think what I would be doing if I brought that rule in now is kind of making a fake ending to this playthrough, and I think I owe you guys watching something more than that, because if they die, that's it. That's permadeath. We don't get to see any of these builds built fully, and I'm excited to see quite a few of these built properly. But we carry on with the design. It's pretty much rinse and repeat all the way around. We build a wooden structure that takes it up one below the height we need. We put a 4 girder across, and then we put 6s in a line across that, and that makes a very clean structure that looks good and uses a minimum amount of materials to build, and it basically does the job that we need it to do. Now, the thing that I haven't spoken about in relation to this, the amount of power this is going to need to run all of these pumps at 100% is going to be ginormous. Already, I believe they take 700 power each, so, you know, times 7 by 6. That break was me doing very quick math to get to 41. Apologies, that number's probably wrong as well. I'm doing this on the fly, Ablib, if you haven't realised now. Basically, it's a lot. And you can see here that this just slots together perfectly. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And it was a total fluke. I didn't plan that at all, that it went together that well. What's great about that is I don't need to make power chains or any level of power that connects them. All those buildings are touching each other. So once they turn on and get finished, it'll all work. But I know for a fact, having these all turned on at once, I am not creating enough power for what I've got just to have these working. So we really do need to focus on the badwater power station that we've got running at the back of our colony. It's another thing that we need to do, but what I am realizing pretty quickly is we need resources and we need them ASAP. We're running out of metal blocks. We are running out of wood. It's becoming very silly. So the next episode of this, I am going to be building waterways and water courses, and we are going to start basically planting forests everywhere and anywhere that it will allow us to do, to get as much wood as we can. And that will then build the districts as quickly as they possibly can and produce more stuff for us to try and have any chance of seeing this built. And that is the end of that episode, and that is the end of this episode. I thank you so much for staying with me, and please leave comments on what you think about these videos. I have just leveled up my microphone, if some of you realize that. I am enjoying this journey of content creation. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, so I am learning as I go, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. And leave me a comment if I can do anything to improve these in the future. So until then, stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll see you soon.